The US military carried out a kinetic strike on a suspected drug vessel in international waters in the Caribbean, which killed 3 men. Now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has said that the strike was carried out at the direction of President Donald Trump, claiming that the vessel was trafficking narcotics and was operated by a designated terror organization. The development comes after it was reported that a pair of US Air Force B-52 bombers flew over the Caribbean Sea along the Venezuelan coast on Thursday, marking the 4th US military flyover near Venezuela since mid-October. The 2 bombers flew parallel to Venezuela's northern coast before circling northeast of Caracas and then heading back to the sea. Washington said that the flights were part of its counter-narco campaign that targeted alleged drug smugglers across the Caribbean and Latin America. Venezuelan officials, however, see the build-up as a threat to their sovereignty. Earlier, the US Senate even blocked a resolution to stop President Trump from attacking Venezuela without congressional authorization. The US Navy currently has 6 warships in the Caribbean, including the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group. United States has also deployed F-35 stealth warplanes to Puerto Rico, with US forces saying that they have carried out strikes on 17 suspected drug smuggling vessels since the month of September, which has killed at least 67 people. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has accused Washington of using anti-drug campaign as a cover for an attempted regime change. During a Socialist Party rally, Maduro even joked that American media attention has made him more famous than American singer Taylor Swift.
Soy más famoso que Taylor Swift en Estados Unidos ahorita.
I'm more famous than Taylor Swift in the US right now, than Karol G. I'm more famous than Bad Bunny. I even want to record an album to see if we can get funding for more community council and commune projects with the album sales. Who will help me? You, Hector, or Rod Bexa? Rod Bexa, write me some songs, youth. I sing well, I don't sing that badly. It could be Super Bigote, who is famous. How do you say Super Bigote in English? Super Mustache, Super Mustache.
And to discuss the tensions brewing between US and Venezuela and the US carrying out strikes in the Caribbean region, Dr. Glenn Deason, Professor of International Relations at the University of Southeastern Norway and editor at Russia in Global Affairs Journal, joins us on the broadcast live from Oslo. Appreciate you, Mr. Deason, joining us on the broadcast. Your assessment of Trump's military buildup in South Caribbean. While Maduro has accused US of plotting a regime change, US says that strikes are part of its counter-narcotics campaign.
Well, it's usually how war propaganda is carried out. You have to sell any war to the public. And in this instance, the Trump administration favors the approach of presenting the Venezuelan government as illegitimate because it's allegedly, a drug cartel posing as a government. But of course, behind the scenes, or not so much behind the scenes, there's the talk of oil. That is, Venezuela has the largest reserve in the world, and Trump himself has on camera said on more than one occasion that all of this oil could end up in the United States, and this is the main motivation. There's also talk in the political class in the United States that they were happy that this very energy-rich country has aligned itself with adversarial countries such as China and Russia. But I would also put in the wider context that as the world becomes multipolar, the US has few resources and has to prioritize more. It has made it clear that it will focus on shoring up its dominance in the Western Hemisphere, as well as East Asia, of course. So, this talk about ships and carrying drugs, it doesn't really make that much sense from my perspective, especially given that most of the drugs coming into the US goes through the West Coast and Mexico. And a lot of these ships which are being bombed is happening very far away from the American coast. So there's no evidence that these ships are carrying drugs. And even if they were, usually you don't bomb them. This is a policing issue.
Yes, Mr. Deason, that's precisely the point. No proof whatsoever has been provided by the US regarding whether these vessels were actually carrying narcotic substances. However, in your view, if US were to carry out attacks against land targets as well, would it be justified on national security grounds? Because many experts even believe that the strikes may actually violate international law.
Oh, well, it is aggression against another country. This is a big violation of international law. And the US has made it clear they would like to have regime change in Venezuela. So it's I don't see how it can be much doubt that this is a violation of international law. The rhetoric they're using in the US, of course, is that all the drugs are harming the population in the United States. But as I mentioned, most of the drugs comes from other locations. They have different pathways into the United States. And obviously, the US isn't taking these measures against any of those states. But even if it will still be illegal. What I do find interesting, though, is that the Trump administration is going with this narco-terrorism justification. Because traditionally, over the past 30 years, most Western countries have aligned more along the line of traditional support of democracy and human rights. So that's why we have to push international law aside. But he's gone more for this hard security issue. And it was quite, well, you've seen this also from the Nobel Peace Prize winner, Machado, who given the Nobel Peace Prize, it could have been a good liberal democratic justification for war, but she's also aligned herself with this narco-terrorism justification for the invasion. And she's also been very clear, open in the media, that if the US army topples Maduro and installs her into power, then there would be a massive privatization and all of those resources would be flooding towards the United States. So it's again, it's motivated by natural resources, and it's definitely a violation of international law. And but again, narratives, you always have to sell a war, and this is the narcotic thing is what they seem to be going for.
Yes, point taken, Mr. Deason. Remains to be seen whether there is, if at all, any basis to the claims being made by Maduro regarding possible regime change attempts that is probably being made by the US. Thanks for speaking to WION.